Good afternoon on a rainy day in Virginia. Today's video is a gear review of the big three items that I carried on my 2023 southbound PCT through hike. I buy all my own gear. I'm not sponsored by anyone, so I'm going to give you an honest appraisal. What I carried, how I modified it, and how it worked. And, would I do something different? Maybe, maybe not. First item I want to discuss today is my pack. The pack I used is a Z-Packs Arc Haul. This is a 60-liter pack. This was made in a material that they no longer offer. I think it was called Grip Stop, but it sort of has like a ripstop pattern in it. And now their Arc Hauls are made out of something called Ultra, which is very similar to Dyneema. One of the features of the Arc series from Z-Packs is that it has two carbon fiber stays. And in theory, these carbon fiber stays arc, if you will, sort of like, like a flattened out letter C, to keep the pack away from your back, to increase the circulation there. Well, what I found in practice on this pack and on other packs is that they would slide to one side, and sure enough, the pack was sitting right on my back. I really don't mind that too much. On a hot day in the desert, it does get a little sweaty, but I was never able to really keep that arc in there. Even after I had it flexed for me by a Z-Packs representative, yeah, that lasted, a few hours, and then it just sort of slid to one side, and I was never really able to keep it well away from my pack, well away from my back, if you will. So if that's an issue for you, I would not recommend this. Now, these days, Z-Packs is using pre-flexed stays. I'm not sure that really does much, but I can't honestly offer an opinion on that. I've never used one, but just thinking about the physics, I'm not sure what would preclude that. The material did leak a little bit, especially through the seams, and the taping on the inside wore off. I was able to repair it with some tenacious tape about halfway through, and that lasted a while, but it degraded for a while. So there was always some sort of seepage if it was sort of a heavy rain. I do want to show you this. As part of the arcing system, they have they provide a mesh back that when it is flexed is absolutely straight. Well, one of the straps on this broke, so even that had to be removed. I always intended to repair that, but I didn't, and after a few weeks I just ended up throwing it out. And instead, to keep lumpy items next to my shoulders on the inside of the pack, from digging in, I put my butt pad, also from Z-Packs, just sort of jury rigged here with some very lightweight cord, and it worked fine. It was literally to get me through a day, and I ended up not changing the configuration for about the last 3 months. I made a modification, or had this added to the pack when I purchased it, and that was one external mesh pocket, only on one side, and that's the way that I like it. I like to be able to have one that is completely clear on one side, so if I want to put my trekking poles in, or I want to put something vertically that's quite bulky, for example, my foam pad, I could put it in the pocket there, and then underneath this compression cord. This is normally where I kept my rain gear, just so it was readily available. If I got stuck by a rainstorm. And my pack is autographed all over by friends and trail angels, and this will now go up on my wall. I'm looking at my 2 previous packs here that have autographs from previous through hikes, and it will be added to that list. The best memento that I can think of a through hike. I get to look not only at the pack, but I get to look at the names of the people with whom I interacted, and it always warms my heart to look at those names. So how would I rate this pack? I would not buy this pack again. I think I'm going to try a different manufacturer, try something a little bit different, something a little sturdier to keep the air circulation across my back a little better, and try that out. I haven't used one of those in a number of years, but I think I sort of owe it to myself to try one of those packs. I did carry 2 other accessory packs, which you may have seen in some of the videos. This is also from Z-Packs, and this is their chest pack. It's made to be attached in 4 different places. I would only attach it in 3 different places, 1, 2, and 3. And I could slip one arm out of my shoulder strap. I have a torn rotator cuff, and probably 25% of the time I only use one shoulder strap to carry the load. But I like this a lot. It was sort of my man purse, and so it was very easy to unclip this if I was going into, say, a restaurant, or go to check in at a motel or hostel or something like that. I'd carry all my valuables, anything that I wanted to keep with me, and it was just very easy, one thing to keep track of, if you will. And the other pack that I used is this shoulder strap pack. So it has a webby part in front where I kept my Garmin, as you can see, and a zippered top with a rainproof zipper. And this one is from Hyperlite, and I like this one a lot because it fits my phone really just perfectly. You just put it in there, and even when I fell, the phone didn't come out the top. There was sort of enough friction to hold it in there. So I like this one a lot too, and I would not change either of those 2 accessory packs. Okay, that's the pack. Okay, let's do a little bit of a tour. This is the Z-Packs Duplex L. So it's slightly narrower and longer than the standard duplex. I think works quite well for me. Let's open up the zipper here. So had this the entire through hike. Just zip
little bit here. It is bilaterally symmetrical, so you can get in and out from either side. I've never slept in it with another person. I think this would be quite snug, especially the duplex L, because it is slightly narrower. This actually is lighter weight than my original duplex that I did almost every mile of the Triple Crown with in 2019 and 2021, because that was made of a heavier weight material. This Dyneema fabric, waterproof, but this color is a little lighter weight than some of the other colors, believe it or not. I mean, they have a different weight of the overall tent. Here you can see the scar from where the pine cone and or branch hit me, caused a major hole in the tent, and then I taped it both inside and out with tenacious tape over the seam that the Trail Angel did. I didn't think this was possible to sew Dyneema like this, just because of the kind of fabric it is. But wow, she made it happen. She's a real magician as a seamstress. Want to go in and show you a little bit of the modifications and how the layout is. So I'm 6'2", and I'll show you how I fit in here. So there would be my feet. So you see, I have a few inches, and I'm not touching the top or anything. Now, when I'm in my sleeping bag, it's obviously going to be a little more distance. And then turning it around, you can see where my head would hit. If I'm up on my sleeping system, I'm going to be, a few inches higher than this, so it does get pretty close to, touching this. Some people find that annoying. It doesn't really bother me. I've made some modifications to this tent. I bought 2 of these and hung them here. They're just on with tenacious tape, which comes with them. Get them from Z-Packs as well. I would definitely do exactly the same thing here. These sorts of pockets, you put valuables in, like your glasses, you're just asking for them to get, crushed or stepped on or something like that during the night. So I put my glasses, my sunglasses, and I will oftentimes put like my spoon if I'm cooking in my tent, put other things up here that I just want to keep clean, keep out of the dirt, keep out of the mess. The great feature of the Duplex L for me at 6'2" is that I don't push out this way. So if you can see what I'm doing with my foot, I'm extending the bathtub floor beyond the eave of the tent. So any rain falling down the side and running down the side just gets scooped right through the mosquito netting otherwise into the tent. On the very first night that I ever used the standard duplex in the Alps, it rained, and that's exactly what happened. It scooped the water right into the tent, and after that I had to take sort of extreme measures. With the Duplex L, I have a much more confidence that won't happen because I won't be pushing it out. And the other thing that the Duplex L has are these carbon fiber stays which stick up. I'm not sure I really like that. I kind of like the old Duplex L where they had pullouts attached here where you could just get a stick and sort of lift it up. I could retrofit this tent with that, but I haven't done so. The other thing to note about this tent is, after now using it throughout my trip this year and also last year on the PCT, so it had 550 miles on the PCT in 2022 as well, and several hundred miles on the AT, I think. So this is getting a little old. The zippers are starting to fail. And this is something that I noticed with my previous duplex as well, where they will just separate here, when you don't have, when you're not using the pull. I have lubricated them with zipper lubricant one time, and that helped, but it's not a panacea. What I did on my original duplex is I got some additional pulls, and it's not as hard to replace them as you might think. I thought it was going to be much harder, and you just sort of like create a little cut here, and then you introduce the new ones. You pull the old ones out and you introduce the new ones, which work better because the pulls themselves are not worn, which creates sort of a problem when they join. So this tent is sort of getting near the end of its life, and I would like to try it out in a heavy rain. The scar here is experienced one rainstorm, but that's it, and it was fine. It didn't leak, but I wouldn't feel terribly confident taking it out in an area in which I would be facing, potentially life-threatening conditions if it leaked, like in a major way. So there we have it.
And the last item to address, the big three, is the sleeping system. I'll start off with the sleeping pads because I used multiple pads. I picked this up actually from Anish when she was doing her calendar year Triple Crown. She used both an inflatable and a solid foam pad. So I thought that I think that's the way to go. I actually used 3 sleeping pads simultaneously. First one that I put down on the bottom I got from Gossamer Gear. This is ultra thin, ultra lightweight. The whole pad, and I've taken a couple panels off. You buy it full length, and I took off a couple of panels just because I didn't need them on my feet. But the whole thing weighs 90 grams, and it provides some protection right along the ground and a little bit of an R value. And I would also use this tucked inside of my pack, once again, to keep anything that was sort of hard or pokey away from my back, provide a little bit more cushioning right against my back. And then on top of that, I would use an inflatable pad. I started out using an inflatable pad from Climate. I think it was the 2 that I had ironed, had cut off and then ironed shut. It worked fine. Lasted probably 1,500 miles, something like that. And they're really cheap, and I would do that one again for the last, and then it started getting a little leaky, and I would have to blow it up 2 or 3 times a night, and I decided to get one from home that I had been using for a number of years, and this is a Tensor from Nemo Tensor Short Mummy. They don't make this anymore. I really like the 3/4 length, the hip length. I think that's kind of the way to go. But once again, I like this because it was quite light, and I figured I didn't need to cushion my feet. I would almost always put my pack, sometimes with my food bags, underneath my feet at night, keep them kind of elevated, so I really didn't need any cushioning underneath there. And then on top of it all, on top of the inflatable, I would use this Nemo switchback. There are, you know, different models from different manufacturers, all pretty much the same, R value and the weight. As far as the pads would go, I would not change anything. I would do exactly what I did this past year. So that was, you know, thumbs up from the sleeping pads. As far as the sleeping bags go, I used 2 different sleeping bags. I started off with one, used it in July and August in Washington, Oregon, and then all the way down to Sonora Pass. Actually, all the way to Yosemite Valley is where I got my winter weight one. But I started off with a sleeping quilt from Enlightened Equipment, and this is a wide, long 40-degree quilt. The first few weeks there were a couple nights in the North Cascades that were a little chilly, but I was never, you know, shivering all night long or anything like that. So I thought this worked out really well, even though I sleep quite cold, and this is only rated at 40 degrees. You know, wearing my down sweater. It's really not even a down jacket at night. I was able to keep warm. And this thing is incredibly light. It is just over 1 pound. And then for the Sierras and for the remainder of the trip, I used this from Z-Packs, and this is a 0-degree rated sleeping bag, and I'll give you the particulars down below. Once again, this worked out just perfectly. This was toasty warm every night, even when it was below freezing. Never had a problem. And the last 2 bits of my sleeping system are the separate hood that I have from, I think this is called a hoodlum from Enlightened Equipment. I had it made with a camouflage pattern with a different Enlightened Equipment to match an entirely different Enlightened Equipment quilt, and just wear that. Found that to be very versatile, kept my head quite warm at night, and sometimes on chilly mornings I would wear it for a short while hiking. This is not made out of down, it's synthetic, so with condensation there's really not much of an issue. And the other thing that I have are these oversized down booties, and I got these they're from Goose Feet Gear, a cottage industry here in America, and I just love these things. I got them oversized. I mean, I wear size 14 feet, and these are like extra large. Why did I do that? Well, I used to wear sleeping socks, and I always would get oversized socks to increase the circulation around my feet, but also to keep the dead air, you know, very loose. I don't want any sort of constriction on my feet at night. And for the weight of those extra pair of fluffy socks that I would carry, I mean, I could wear these down booties inside my my sleeping bag. So I like these a lot too. I wouldn't change anything at all with my sleeping system. So, you know, from the foam pad to the air mattresses to which sleeping bag or quilt that I used where, I thought that was just perfect. I switched from the summer weight one to the winter weight one just at the right time. The booties, the hood, I wouldn't change anything with the sleeping system. I hope you found this video helpful if you're planning a through hike or a lash or even a weekend hike. This is what works for me, and this is my honest appraisal of the gear that I carried. Happy hiking.